and dress however they wanted. It's these genuine outcasts who are at the heart of this book, their collective story anchored by the personal experiences of 4 skaters, each with a vastly different relationship to skate culture. Alana Smith fell in love with skateboarding at the age of 8, a precocious phenom breaking records and taking names until their talent threatened to destroy their life. Marby Miller grew up skating in a tiny town in Iowa. She liked how she didn't have to pretend to be someone else when she skated. She had 0 designs on fame. When it happened, she was more surprised than you. Victoria Taylor was raised to look hot, nab a husband, have kids, and live happily ever after. At the age of 21, she stepped onto a skateboard and found a more inspired happily ever after. That is, until, as in all fairy tales, the wolves showed up at her door. And then there's Vanessa Torres, a real-life rebel teen heroine with a lap full of gold medallions, getting into catfights, crying in secret, misunderstood. All she wanted to do, forever, was skate with her friends. She'd like it if her sponsors liked her, but in 2003, no one in the skate industry knew what to do with a rebel girl. If you're one today, you owe Vanessa a thank you card. But for all their differences, every one of these skaters fell in love with the same thing. A piece of wood with 4 wheels, 2 trucks, some kingpins, nuts, and bolts. They all loved that thing so badly that even when it didn't love them back, they kept returning to it. And that's how they broke the mold. By refusing to slot neatly into a nebulous collection of preordained boxes and instead fighting for their space in the world, which, contrary to popular belief, there's enough of to go around. Most of the stories I was told for this book were corroborated in articles, podcasts, videos, and photographs. And where narratives involved other people, I tried not to put words in their mouths. I didn't speak to anyone's mother or father to get their thoughts. I didn't call siblings or lovers or bosses past or present. Not because their memories were irrelevant, but because a single thread of anyone's life can be told from a dozen different perspectives and be jettisoned off down 1,000 different paths. The paths taken in these pages are those of the skaters who walked them. A question I often heard voiced over the past 3+ years was, who gets to tell skateboarding's story? The concern was that someone either wouldn't get it right and embarrass the community, or would get it right and compromise the community. The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. When I started writing this book in the summer of 2020, I didn't know the club existed. And then my niece skateboarded down to meet me at the surf break. The world was in lockdown and everything was the worst. But that day, after teaching her to turtle roll against the cold, crashy waves, she showed me how to tic-tac across the pebble-pocketed road, and everything was the best-ish. We'd never bonded over anything before, and suddenly we're inseparable, pushing each other to try things that scared us on boards, things that left us breathless and bruised, smiling bigger than ever. I said, let's have a sleepover. The night she showed up at my place, we decided to only watch movies that featured girls surfing and girls skating. This book is the result of what I did and did not find that night and all the days and nights that followed. Skateboarding weathered a number of significant changes over the course of this book's creation. Most controversial was the one-time fringe subculture being catapulted onto the world stage as a result of being in the Olympics. In response, a new era of skateboarding sprung up, one too young to know its past, much less the parts that have seldom been told. So before things go any further, and the history of skateboarding is forever cemented in myopia, here are some stories that tell a different tale, and sometimes the same tale from a different perspective with the same rapturous fervor. Often, if you want to write about women in history, you have to distort history to do it or substitute fantasy for facts, said historical novelist Hilary Mantel. This book is meant to avoid future historians having to make shit up.
Tipping points. Alana. June 21st, 2021. Los Angeles, California. Olympic Press.